Hey YouTube. Well, I should be getting ready to go to the gym now. I usually go on Saturday evenings, but the air quality is so bad in San Francisco. Well, at first, as you guys know, California's on fire again. This is something we have to deal with regularly every year. There are fires. We think about the big cities in California. There are several large cities, metropolitan areas in California, but this is a huge, huge state. So right, so there are hundreds and hundreds of miles of brush, trees, and when it's all dry, it's all just waiting for a match. Anything goes wrong anywhere. Apparently, they're suspecting that something might have went wrong with PG&E up around our electric company around Paradise, California. I'm not sure exactly how far that is from here, but I can tell you just the facts of what I know of being in the city. I live in the heart of San Francisco, kind of right in the middle of it. I have hills around me. I can hardly see the hills that are in front of my window here. You can only see so high in high rises. The air quality, they say, is the worst in the world at this particular moment because of this uncontrollable fires in California. So, of course, we pray for all the people who have lost their lives, the dead people, and also their families, people who do not know yet. So, from what I understand, there are something like 71 to 73 people who are confirmed dead in this fire. Most of them happened in Paradise, California. There's another fire in Los Angeles, up around Malibu, but I think the death toll there is relatively low. Here it is extreme, and now they're reporting that there are over 1,000 people who are missing. So we won't really know the death toll until this thing is done, until it's really out. President Trump, I still want to just say Trump, leave this president. Trump is here today. He says that the fires are the fault of the forestry and the fault of people not raking leaves. Does he mean raking your front lawn leaves? Or is he talking about the underbrush in the forest? There, as I just said, there are hundreds of miles of forestry. What is he talking about? Get out there and rake the leaves. How many men would it take to rake 1,000 miles of brush, of trees? Oh, but it's on the ground, it's dry. Look up, Trump. I mean, look up 50 feet into the air. What about all that stuff that's on fire? All right, so obviously Trump does not believe in climate change. He thinks it's an exaggeration. From what I understand, he's stopped much of the research around climate change. He's not pouring any government money into that. The entire world seems to agree that there's climate change. This dude has went over to Europe to remove us from Paris Agreement. He's so steeped in these ideas of his. Now, I mean, it sounds pretty dumb to me. Do you think that the forestry people or the employees of the federal government and the state government are going to go over thousands of miles of trees and brush and leaves and somehow change a fire like this? I mean, the entire town was burned down. Is he saying that he wants to contain whatever the initial flame was? It could have just been somebody throwing a cigarette down. It's all dry. There's climate change. Anytime, I'm not an educated, I don't have an educated mind, particularly around science or anything about to do with the weather. But even I can see that every year we're hearing about this is the worst fire we ever had. This is the worst hurricane we've ever had. This is the worst. Every national disaster it seems to be getting progressively worse. So, and for a layman, you would say, well, something is changing if we're constantly confronted with the worst it's ever been. If it's the worst it's ever been progressively over the last 20 years, that should tell you something. We should be researching on how to do our part as humans to stop this dramatic climate exchange. Anyway, Trump said, get you a good rake. Get you a good rake. It's going to make all the difference. As for what's going on here in San Francisco, like I said, I was going to go out, but I started noticing a few days ago, because I don't feel like I'm affected by the bad air quality, right? I don't have asthma or anything, and I just didn't feel it at first. But I started noticing that my dog, who is half brown, he's half white. Let me put him up here. Come here. Up you go. You guys probably can't see. He's half brown, he's half white, right? But all of his hair, well, this light is not going to work for you. You can't tell. But all of his hair is gray. The white parts of his hair, forgive me for my foolishness. Ain't no way in hell you can see what color the child's hair is. But I kept saying, why is he getting so damn dirty? I thought it was because he was kicking up too much dust in the park, or because the park was dry. But no, it's the air. The air quality here is horrible. Now, probably every fourth person you see is wearing masks. They're all wearing these masks because of the air is so bad. Now, I've just started feeling it today. I can see it. I can see this is all the smoke coming from this fire, this massive fire, which has burned down this entire town, which 1,000 people are missing, which 71 to 3 people are dead. It's made it all the way to this town. They're wearing masks. The dog is gray. The transit is free because they don't want people to be on the street. They have to have city employees to go around and get all of the homeless people who are out in the air. They have to provide them with masks just to breathe. I guess the air, you have a better chance if you're inside, where you're not as affected. Like you go to and fro, you're out there for a few minutes, whatever. But at least you're inside. If you're outside, if you're living outside, and this town has got a huge problem with homelessness, they have to breathe through masks. And he comes here talking about you need to rake the leaves. And of course, he always has to have a scapegoat and blame the forestry. They're not doing their job. I'm trying to figure out what kind of rake would they have where you can rake hundreds of miles of trees and leaves and branches. Baffles the mind. But Donald Trump is the president. At least he did come here and not say anything too stupid while he was here on the land. What people need to know now is, how am I going to get out of this tent or this auditorium where I'm sleeping into shelter from my family? That's what they want to know. Is the federal government, the ones you've been paying taxes to for eons, for lifetimes, whole families, are they going to step in? It's FEMA. I know FEMA does kind of a temporary type stuff. Temporary trailers, and I don't know if they use tents or not, but a lot of those people near Paradise are sleeping in tents and so forth. Whole families in the tent. They have got absolutely nothing there. There's nothing on the ground. So is the federal government going to come back and build them a city? I don't know. But I think those kind of answers will be more comforting to these people who are now all homeless than rhetoric about how the climate is not changing. So what do we have to experience before these people in power accept that the weather is indeed changing? Because every year we're reporting that this is the worst it's ever been. If it's the worst it's ever been every year, obviously something is changing. correct. I mean, I don't know, it's sad. It's very, very sad to think of all those people died. All those people. That's it. What was it? 6,000 houses have been destroyed. I know several thousand houses have been destroyed. Lives. How you have a baby and you in a tent? I mean, people have babies, grandparents, great grandparents. I mean, all of their old people facilities, nursing homes, everybody's evicted into the street. Patients from hospitals, everything is burned to a cinder. It's devastating. All right. Let's see what happens. Let's hope they can rebuild their place or be relocated. I don't know how you can build a whole new city in a place with had a fire like that extreme. I'd be terrified of building on a place that is that susceptible to fire. If it happened once, will it happen again? Anyway, pray for California.